We're in the new 2025 Nissan Murano. It's been redesigned for the first time in about a decade, and we're going to put it through the paces today. And make sure to stay to the end because I'm going to put it on a spreadsheet and compare it to the other vehicles I've already reviewed this year and see how it stacks up against some of the fun new cars that are coming out in 2025. All right, but first let's check under the hood of the Murano. You get locked in. It requires a double pull. I think the Nissan Z is like that as well. We just get one powertrain choice here on the Murano. No hybrids here, but we do have dual shocks. Whenever you see dual shocks, you know that the manufacturer is really trying to go upscale with this model. All right, when I see sound deadening materials over there, as well as a real thick mat underneath of this propped up hood, you see foam over there. I mean, they're putting a lot of attention in here to make sure this is a quiet, luxurious vehicle. The old Murano had a V6 with the CVT. Now, Nissan has scrapped the CVT and the V6, and they've replaced this with a 2-liter turbo. It's the VC turbo that we've seen in, you see it in the Ultima, the sporty versions of the Ultima, the SR, for example. You see it in like the QX50, and QX55, which those Infiniti models are going to be discontinued. And this Murano, I'll talk about how close or maybe even surpasses those Infiniti models, the QX50, for example, when we start driving it. But we have 241 horsepower here and 260 pound-feet of torque. So it's down about 20 horsepower from the old V6, but it's up about 20 pound-feet of torque to 260 pound-feet of torque. Now, I mentioned no CVT. We do have a 9-speed automatic. Now, front-wheel drive is standard on the SV grade, but all-wheel drive is available on that grade as well, and it's standard on the SL and this Platinum grade. All-wheel drive is standard. So let's go and close this down. Fuel economy has been around 20 miles per gallon this week. All right, so the front end of the Murano, it's been getting a lot of attention this week. I have not seen another brand new Murano on the road. They're out there at dealers right now, and this does have parking sensors here at the bottom. That is standard even on the base SV grade. All right, I like the daytime running lights, the cascading on the side, the nighttime lights, kind of with that bar that goes across. Murano's actually written in right here with this front light bar area. It's not really a light bar, but we have 21-inch wheels here. On the new Platinum grades, 20-inch wheels are standard across the base grade and the middle grade. If we come to the side, it's a beautiful looking crossover from the side, very smooth, very luxurious looking, and it's got big old hips in the back to really maybe accentuate its performance. And I like how the wheel arches here are not a typical glossy black. No, they're paint matched, and they're not even matte black, right? A lot of manufacturers do matte black around the wheel arches. They went upscale here, paint matched wheel arches, built into the bodywork. It looks really, really nice. Now look how smooth the back end is. There's no rear windshield wiper. It's tucked up underneath the rear spoiler. Murano, large letters. We do have a light bar in the back, Platinum, all-wheel drive, parking sensors in the rear as well. Trying to remember, yes, there's the button. It's not all the way down there. It's kind of right in the middle of the Nissan logo. Tons of cargo space, 32.9 cubic feet, if I remember correctly. There is there is accessory power here, a little 12 volt. All right, but it's pretty hidden. We do have a nice spare tire here, full diameter, but not full width. And you can fold down the seats 60/40. This does have a kick sensor functionality for the rear. For the rear hatch. Oh, we do have sunshades back here. Now we also have privacy glass, but sunshades back here. That's quite a nice feature. Great materials, great stitching. I love this green and black two-tone interior and this kind of ridged accent that we'll see in the front seat as well. All right, we do have the Bose sound system in here that sounds really, really good. These are the semi-aniline premium leather seats that we get on the Platinum grade. And I apologize, maybe it's a little messy in here. The kids, it's rainy out, the kids have been tracking dirt and whatnot into the cabin. We do have ambient lighting back here, okay? So this turquoise was at the request of my daughter this morning. She wanted turquoise, it's one of her favorite colors. And I think it looks quite nice with this green and black interior in here. We do have vents for the passengers in the back. This Platinum has heated outboard seats. We have 2 USB-Cs as well. No mat pocket here, mat pocket on this side. Beautiful sunroof. I mean, this comes standard on the mid-grade, so the SL grade and of course the Platinum. And of course we have a sunshade on that side. I can fold this down in the middle for cup holders and maybe a little phone holder. Headroom, fantastic at 6'1". It's great legroom. This seat is set up for me at 6'1", and my gosh, look at that legroom. Very, very impressive here in the Murano. All right, and pretty flat floor. Even though all-wheel drive is standard here, we don't have a huge drive hump back here. All right, so let's get into that really pretty front seat. What does the door sound like? Pretty solid. Automatic windows up and down, so I appreciate that. And can I recline the seats? Are they just one setting? Okay, there's that. I think it's just one side. I don't think these rear seats recline. All right, so let's go ahead and get in the front seat. What about smart key access? It's only on the front door here with this little button. Of course, blind spot monitor, I believe that's standard across the lineup. Great materials again here on the front seat, memory seats. The semi-aniline seats here for the driver and the passenger. You do have massage function. It's just right in this area. Of course, lumbar control. Auto folding mirrors, which I don't remember if they're standard on the base grade or not. But right here we have a head-up display control. You have your steering assist control, heated steering wheel, auto brake hold, which works really well in here. Hopefully you can see that head-up display. Now, I like this head-up display. I think you can see it right there. I think that's showing it. It's actually a little off center. So it's actually towards the right-hand side of the head-up display. So it's kind of at the 1 o'clock position where maybe that pole, so if you're looking at that signpost right there, that's a 12 o'clock position. That's typically where you see most speedometers in a head-up display show up. But for whatever reason, Nissan has offset that speedometer in the head-up display to the 1 o'clock position. You get used to it. It's just kind of strange that it's not dead center with your eyeballs. So these 12-inch screens are standard. Now, I do like them quite a bit. I feel like they have quite a bit of customization, and they're really easy to work with. In fact, this little scroll wheel here reminds me of how they implement these controls in the new Nissan Armada. All right, and I can control even the screen over here with the thumb scroll wheel as well. But I always leave it on this screen and then use this as a touch screen over here. So this is my wireless Android Auto playing, which is standard. Now this also has Google built in if you don't want to use your phone for connectivity. The Google built-in, I believe, is standard on the middle grade and this Platinum, and it is not available on that base grade, but to me, that's fine. All right, let's talk about materials in here. It's very impressive. Stitching, soft touch in most places. I like how this material here is not super reflective. We have the ambient lighting that is cohesive between the door and the dash. And I like the volume knob here, Murano. And this area right here reminds me a lot of the Nissan Ariya, and this vehicle in general reminds me a lot of the Ariya, and we'll talk more about that, how that's a good thing. I really like the Ariya fully electric. And that includes this capacitive touch panel here. So you kind of have this wood or faux wood here. It looks real nice, feels real nice, has some good texture to it. It's illuminated nicely. The problem with it, well, this is glossy black. You can see how dirty that gets. But the problem with the this climate control is that if I want to play with the heated seats, I have to go into this menu. All right. If I want to change where the air is hitting me, whether it's the feet, my face, I have to go into this menu. So it's not ideal. It's aesthetically pleasing. It looks very upscale, but it's not the most intuitive nor the most functional to thumb through the climate control like that. You just kind of learn to live with it, and I wish this had physical climate control buttons, but it is what it is. I have a button for massaging seats and a button for all this other stuff, but not climate control, which is something that you interact with all the time. All right, moving on. We have two USB-Cs here, wireless charging, which I think is standard across the lineup. This area right here, the glossy black, it's getting dirty. It's just unfortunate because this area has blinded me a few times. Luckily, it's kind of a rainy day, it's a cloudy day, which is nice for filming, but this is just, it's not good enough. All right, why can't we have this material right here? It's not going to get smudgy, dirty, it's not going to blind me. Or even this wooden material, why can I have that here? This black glossiness is just, it's unfortunate. Do a 360 camera here, which I believe is standard on the middle grade and the upper grade. And then it's just doing its little dance here for you guys. So there's a 360 camera. It works quite well, but I don't think it's necessary in this car because you have the parking sensor standard front and back on the base SV grade. Yes, there's also hidden storage underneath here, quite a bit of it. And this armrest is really nice. I like how it's two-tone again with the green and the black. Opening this up, there's no rubber mat in there, nor is there there isn't not a light, I believe. Unless this is a light. I don't know, that's just a latch. So there's no light and there's no rubber mat in there. So your belongings are going to jingle along in there quite loudly. All right, so let's go ahead and start driving the new redesigned Murano. Immediately pulling away. This engine's smooth. The suspension is actually on the firmer end, but I don't know if that's just due to these 21-inch wheels. And I believe the suspension here on this vehicle is actually it's electronically controlled. Now there's not a lot of suspension settings that I'm aware of. There's only just different driving modes, sport, eco, and normal. And these are with this little button here. But the ride quality here is on the firmer end. But again, it could just be firm because these wheels are larger than the standard 20-inch wheels. All right. So at a stop here, oh, the engine turned off. And that's a part of the start-stop. You can defeat that start-stop with this little button right here. If you're running climate control start-stop engine functionality, it's pretty much, the engine hardly ever turns off if you have climate control on. All right. Let's talk about performance. So 240 horsepower. Let's put the foot down maybe 50%. Yeah. No vibrations. The creaks or anything like that going through the cabin as the engine's revving, so that's nice. The engine has a pleasant sound to it. It's not too terrible, I guess, for a four-cylinder. It's not the most tinny sounding for a four-cylinder. It sounds pretty decent. I've liked this four-cylinder in the QX50 and the QX55 previously. All right, I will say that this transmission. Gosh, all right, this transmission is a bit lethargic. It's definitely tuned for comfort, not sport. Now I have put it in sport mode, but then it's keeping the revs too high, and then it reminds you have a four-cylinder in here, and it gets kind of buzzy if you're in sport mode. So I prefer not to be in sport mode. This vehicle does have good power and good torque. It's just not always immediate for you because, like I said, the transmission is a bit lethargic. So when you want the power, it takes its time giving it to you, and then you're hit with a little bit of turbo boost. But once the boost is spooled up, foot down, there it goes. It goes. Like this thing, it's got some balls, it's got some power to it. Like it's got the performance, I'll say that. I would say 240 horsepower is a bit misleading because it feels way more sporty than 240 horsepower. It feels closer to 300 horsepower. So I don't know if those numbers are just on the conservative end, but this thing feels pretty snappy, pretty quick once boost is in full effect, and that happens. It feels like it's around 3,000 RPM. Engine just turned off again, but if you have climate control running at a stop, you will feel the four-cylinder shake the car just a little bit. Or I could just press auto off. It's not too jarring. It's actually pretty minimal. And then once the engine turns on, the AC actually runs at full capacity. So kind of like, it kind of thwarts the air conditioning when start-stop is enabled. But I'm just gonna turn the start-stop back on and put climate control and that's the thing, it just takes forever to get climate control where you want it, and it takes a long time for the buttons. You don't always know if these buttons register, so it is what it is. It's just something you got to live with here. We also have paddle shifters. We rode through the 9-speed auto. We have this flat bottom steering wheel, which is nice for the Murano. We have elite stitching, and this is what the Aria also has. The Aria has fantastic stitching on the steering wheel. This baseball style stitching is beautiful here on this. It's something I really appreciate. Most people will never think twice about it, but it's elite craftsmanship, I would say, for steering wheel stitching. Let's get into the brakes. Let's talk about how this vehicle stops. I'm going to come on the brakes late here behind this Highlander. A+ brakes. I love how this thing brakes. It's very natural feeling, very smooth. You don't feel the car downshifting at all, or the transmission downshifting as you stop. So the brakes are super predictive here. I really, really like how this car brakes. I also like how it handles. I know it's Florida, so most everything is straight here. But when I do get a chance to throw it in the turn, it hides its size. I don't know how much this car weighs, but it's a pretty big mid-size SUV. It's good at carving the corners. I don't know what this Cayenne's doing, but like it reminds me of the Aria. The Aria, even though it's heavy, it handles really well for an EV. And this feels very much like an Aria, just a little bit lighter. And maybe I feel a little bit higher off the ground compared to the Aria. But this car feels like the gasoline version of the Aria pretty much all the time. All right, it's cool that you have, well, you can get a fully battery electric mid-size crossover, or you can get this. And I've always said that the Aria from Nissan, the Aria EV, doesn't make sense as a Nissan. It feels too upscale. And I thought it should have been badged as an Infiniti stateside, but Nissan kept it a Nissan. This is the same thing. This is a luxury car. This should be badged as an Infiniti. Now, the QX50 and the QX55 are getting discontinued. Those are made down in Mexico at a joint plant with Mercedes. But those vehicles are getting discontinued. And there's talks about a QX65 coming that'll be made in the Smyrna, Tennessee plant, along with the Rogue that you might see up there, as well as this Murano. And the Infiniti QX65 would use the same powertrain this has, 9-speed auto, 2-liter turbo. What could that vehicle improve upon? Climate control, just a functionality. I mean, ergonomics and human interface could be a little bit better there, but like, this feels like an Infiniti to me. This feels like a luxury car. I'm missing one thing though. Talk about the powertrain. I'm only getting 20 miles per gallon in this week. I've driven it 88 miles. I'm getting 20 miles per gallon. I have been idling here and there, but like 20 miles per gallon, that is not good enough in today's day and age. Like, there's so many competitors, like pseudo luxury cars, kind of like the Crown Signia. That's standard hybrid. This powertrain's a little bit quieter than that, I would say, but that gets close to 40 miles. I think I got 37, 38 miles per gallon on that. That's almost double the fuel economy of this. And that's just unfortunate. This Aria, I call it an Aria, this Murano could benefit massively from having a hybrid here. The fuel economy would go through the roof. I mean, I don't feel like I'm asking too much. All of its competition has hybrids, but Nissan knows they need to bring the e-Power here as soon as possible. All right, so I'm at Sam's Club right now. I need to pick up some things, such as eggs and maybe a Lunchable for my daughter's, yes, Lunchables, because they come in bulk here. But I will, and this is a great thing, you know, they do have this 360, so I mentioned this 360 camera. They have this hoodless, I think is this the hoodless technology that they have? Or is this one? I forget. There's some sort of new camera technology in here. I don't know. I haven't been using the 360 camera that much, but you can see, I think I'm within the line here. It says that I'm over the line, but if you look at this camera, I am behind the line. But I will head into Sam's Club, buy a couple things, and we'll finish up this review on the back end. I just took a phone call from my wife, and I struggle sometimes on new cars to find the hang up button. What's cool is right here at the bottom of this side, that'll illuminate a couple buttons. Okay, so if there's music playing, you can skip with this, but right now they're not illuminated because it knows there's no music playing. But if I have a phone call, these buttons also illuminate to answer or to end the phone call. So I really like that cool functionality there. Now, in true luxury car fashion, I do have double paned windows up front, which makes this whole experience very luxurious and quiet. And I'm going 40 miles an hour. What is this guy doing? He's marking the road. Okay. Scared me. Good thing I have good brakes in here. And I still have groceries in the back, but... And once you're up to speed, 55 mile an hour, it's really quiet, really smooth. It's a windy day, pretty windy day here in Florida, and I'm not getting like any annoying wind noise or wind buffeting going on. So it's very sealed and tight cabin, very luxurious removal of the elements, and very calming cabin inside the new Murano. So where does the Murano fit in the 10 cars or so, 9 cars? The Murano's the 10th car reviewed so far this year, reviewed on the 24th. Better than these cars? Is it better than a Nautilus? I think so. I think I enjoy driving the Murano more than a Nautilus. What about a Honda Pilot? I think I'm going to give points here for just design over the Pilot, for example. I know, guys, just keep in mind that we're comparing cars of all segments. Is it better than the Carnival? Yeah, I enjoy driving the Murano more than the Carnival. Is it better than the Ioniq 5N? Nowhere close. So you have this huge drop off so far from the 4Runner that I just reviewed this week, the Armada that's right up there with it, the Ioniq 5N, which is right up there with them. Just they're such different cars, right? Then you have this big drop off to the Carnival Hybrid, the Pilot, etc. So the Murano's going to sneak into 4th place here, guys. It's a very let's do it above. It's a very, very good car. It is not going to, I don't think, move the needle a whole lot for Nissan. They need a hybrid. If it debuted with a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid, it would be really, really making a name for itself. The Murano's gotten more upscaled. It's achieved that with its execution and real-world driving. It's smooth, it's quiet, it's powerful, it looks cool on the outside, it's comfortable and pleasing on the inside, it's spacious, the materials are good, it handles nice, the ride quality is good, build quality seems pretty good on it. Like, it's a really solid car, but just one powertrain. And in today's electrified market, where you have hybrids getting 30, you're getting 40 miles per gallon with equal performance and maybe a little bit better response in some instances if you look at Toyota's hybrids. So yeah, Murano's a very, very good car, and I'm excited to see when I review more cars this year to see what is better than the Murano. I would save a little bit more money and get an Armada. Armada's fuel economy is not that much worse than the Murano, despite it being huge and having 400 of plus horsepower. I really like the Armada. It's very, very good. And it was really hard for me to pick the new 4Runner over it, but it just depends what your needs are. The 4Runner is more fun to drive than the Armada, but the Armada is a better family vehicle. Pretty simple, right? So anyways, I'm going to shut it down there. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the comments section down below about the Nissan Murano. Have a great day and peace out.